Hi, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to discuss why you would want your automatic door bottom to drop unevenly. Question from a client stating that looking for an automatic door bottom that comes down evenly when the plunger is depressed. The client goes on to say that the end user does not like the type that comes down on one side, hits the floor, and then knifes down to seal off the entire bottom. Has had issues with the neoprene tearing with this type. I supplied him a specific company which does this. Any help would be appreciated. So you want it to come down unevenly. However, I think you might have the wrong hand of unit installed. Here's the proper operation. When the door is pushed closed, my elbow is going to be the plunger that's going to make contact with the hinge jamb. As the door is pushed closed, the plunger makes contact and starts to become depressed. You want the hinge side dropping first so that it makes contact with the floor and then drops down this way. Now, why is that the case? Well, because the door swings this way, meaning door is closing, door is closing, door is closing, starts to make contact. The bottom drops down, but what's still out here? My door is still open 5-10 degree. If it dropped evenly, you're going to be tearing the neoprene out at the leading edge of the door because the door's still partially ajar. That's why they need to knife down, because they're not closing this way, they're closing this way, is why you would want that. My guess is that your end that's dropping first is on the lock side, which you certainly don't want that to happen. You want to be sure that it's dropping down on the hinge side first. Now, a unit that drops evenly, you're going to have the same problem that you have now, because you're still going to be scraping part of the seal on the floor. Also, as soon as the door opens, as soon as you start to release tension on the drop plunger, you want the lock side to start coming up, because why? Over here, you've not moved but a 32nd of an inch, but over at the lock side of the door you may have moved a 1/2 of an inch. And then as you get further open, a lot of travel happens out here where very little travel happens over here. I think of the speed, if you were standing on top of a record player, the speed relative to you on the outside part of the record is significantly different than if you're standing at the center of the record player. So think of that, because it's so much faster on the outside. Think of that sort of concept to understand why you might understand that there's a difference happening at the hinge edge, which is the vertical axis of pivoting, and at the leading edge. I can make suggestions on those models that drop evenly, something that you might see in a pocket door application, a sliding pocket door, a sliding door application. It would be advantageous to have those drop down evenly, because as you make contact with the jamb, that whole unit should drop, because by the time it gets to the fully closed position, you should be thoroughly sealed. And while you're going through the closing position as the plunger makes contact, depressed, 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 fully depressed, you want to be depressed, 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 fully depressed. Let me know if this doesn't utterly clarify the original question. I'd be happy to assist. Thank you.